What is up, guys and gals? 'Tis I, the King of Indies, Splattercat, here with Weekly Indie Newcomer, the weekly series that I do, where we take a look at an indie game that's been bouncing around my brain over the course of the last week. Very excited to have you here today. As you can tell on screen, today we're taking a look at one of my favorite games of all time. This is kind of a weird episode of Weekly Indie Newcomer for me because it's a game that I've had for a long time. It's a game that I've known about for a long time, and I've really put off doing an episode on it. But finally, my back is against the wall. I love it too much. It's one of those games that people need to know about it, and if you don't know about it yet, you should. And I'm trying to rectify that. It's called Caves of Cut. It's by Freehold Games. It's an open-world roguelike with a vicious sense of pacing, a very, very high difficulty curve, but at the same time is very, very easy to learn. Seriously, you can do like 90% of everything in this game with a numpad and the spacebar. And that's what I like about it, is that the game is as shallow or as deep as you want it to be. If you want to play it like a Diablo-esque hack and slasher, go for it. If you want it to be like a tactical strategy type deal, go for it. It's all in the way that you want to build your character. And the game is in early access, and so I say that with a caveat, though. There's a little asterisk in front of it. After it. I'm not going to put it in front. That would be weird. There's an asterisk behind it. The game is in early access, but it's kind of one of those games like Dwarf Fortress where it's a passion project for the people that work on it. This is made by the same people that did Sproggywood, and as you can tell, they've been working on the game for a very, very long time. 8 years, in fact. And I'm pretty sure, I may have heard this wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Sproggywood was developed so that they could make some money so that they could keep working on Caves of Cud. And so it's early access, but I don't think this game will ever be done. I don't think this game will ever be in 1.0 because it's like Dwarf Fortress where the world is so huge and it just keeps expanding and getting crazier and crazier. And it seems like the developers are very much in love with this one, so I would doubt that it's ever going to see the light of day of a real release. It's probably just going to be beta forever, just like Dwarf Fortress is probably going to be beta forever. So without further ado, let's play some Caves of Cud. I don't want to get bogged down kind of talking about the game and all the random little things inside of here. I'm like, wait a minute, this is an impressions video. You're supposed to be talking about your feelings. We'll get to that. We'll talk about my feelings in just a minute. Right now, mostly, I don't want to feel rushed, though, but I want the episode to move forward because what happens here with a lot of these games is that there's so much detail that people hyper-focus on it, they over-explain, and then you never get to see anything of the game. So instead, I'm going to try and do this a little bit of a different way, and we're just going to keep hustling all the way through. I'll explain what I feel like I need to explain. I'll tutorial what I think I need to tutorial, but I'll annotate it too. Don't worry about that. If you didn't want to watch all the character creation and everything, I'll give you a little note later on or earlier on in the video so you can click it and jump straight to the gameplay if you so desire. So let's create a new character. First big choice in front of you. You want to be a mutant or you want to be a human? This is a post-apocalyptic game that takes place in a world kind of like the world, oh, I don't know. It's probably, there's a thing called Gamma World. There's a thing called, if you saw the game that I played called Bedlam, it's kind of a post-apocalyptic world like that where there's mutants and robots and all kinds of crazy shit going on. Mankind's genome has basically wrapped around itself and then exploded like an anaconda made out of nitroglycerin. And ultimately, everyone is a mutant now. The true kin, the unmutated humans now, have become like this ascended version of humanity where they're kind of like paladins almost, except instead of turning undead, they turn robots. They started as Templars. They get lots of skill points. They're pretty badass in the beginning of the game, but at the end of the game, they don't tend to be quite as good as mutants, and so you gotta make your choice here. We're gonna play mutated humans because this is where I think the meat and potatoes of the game is. True kin really haven't been fleshed out that much by comparison to mutated humans, which is where the huge, vast quantity of the gameplay is gonna be found, so we'll be a mutant here today. We've got to allocate our stats. We've got strength, which is your piercing ability with your weapons, how much you can carry, your ability to resist being pushed, stuff like that. I'm going to use it as a dump stat for right now. We're not putting... Actually, no, let's be a warrior. I think we'll survive longer if I go the warrior path. And so I'm going to even out agility, which is your chance to hit. I'm going to even out toughness, which is your HP. I'm going to even out intelligence. We're not going to have any magic powers. Will and ego, or for magicians, are people that really, really like doing cool stuff with their mind. Scions, mages, stuff like that. There's a lot of cool abilities in this game, and I actually feel to get the best play out of this game, you should probably play a mage. That's when the game is most interesting, but a warrior gives us the best chance of surviving, and since I don't want to die to the first monster I come across at the bottom of the dungeon, I'm trying to make a 30-minute video here without me getting speared in half by random monsters that are way more powerful than me, and so I might even these out a little bit. Probably not a lot, though, just to make it so we don't have too much of a deficit right there, but we'll go with like a little bit of intelligence. Intelligence is your chance to identify stuff, how many skill points you get, and I think that's pretty much it. It affects some other things, too. Toughness is your HP and how fast you regenerate, how much you resist physical maladies like poison and venom, probably important. Hit chance, I'll bring that up, and then strength we're bringing up to 20 because I want to be a baller. I want to cut people in half with dual-wielded claymores and whirlwind around the map, murdering everything. When somebody tries to arm wrestle me, I want to fling their arm across the room severed. They're going to be like, oh my god, I didn't believe I was getting into this, and I was like, yeah, well, you should have heard. And then I'll probably increase intelligence a little bit too for the skill points because skill points are pretty important. So this guy is a bit of a sword sage. He's going to be kind of a smart guy with a blade. We'll have to make sure we give him the goggle glasses. We're done here. We got to pick our mutations now. With your mutations, there's 2 things or 3 things you can choose from here. You can choose to be a chimera, which is a morphotype. That means you can only have physical mutations. That would probably be really, really smart for us. It would make it so that if we take unstable genome down here, what'll happen is if you take Esper, you can only have magical mental mutations. Unstable genome is a modifier to all of these, which makes it so that every time you level up, you have a chance to get a random mutation. Chimera and Esper are your ways of slightly controlling that so that you don't get stuff that's way outside your build and completely and totally useless that you're never going to use. I probably won't go in on that right now. Instead, we're going to look at physical mutations because we're a warrior, and there's way too much of this here for us to even remotely talk about. Like, seriously, there is so much stuff here that you've got to get used to. Everything from shooting fire from your hands, to super speed, to having horns. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can have in here, and some players would go through and explain every single one, and they go through one by one. That's what I would do if I was doing an LP, but since this is an impressions video, I'm just going to pick stuff and explain what we're doing along the way. We're going to avoid mental mutations for right now. Physical defects. We can choose to be an albino. That means we're a pariah, and we regenerate at 1/5 the usual rate in the daylight, but in the dungeon we'd be perfectly fine. These give us more points to spend, by the way. Amphibious means we have to dunk ourselves in water every now and again. We lack a sense of pain. That means we can't tell how many HP we have. That one can be troublesome. We kind of just have to figure it out via color code. You can have a beak, which makes birds like you, but everybody else thinks you're ugly, and you're like, and you occasionally peck people in the face. Stacks pretty well if you've got horns. And in fact, maybe that's what we'll do. We'll have like a beak. We can't wear a face mask, though, which kind of sucks, because there are some really good face masks, but we're not going to make it that far anyways. We'll take horns. We've got horns. We've got a beak. We've got... Let's go with night vision, so that we can see in dungeons without having to hold, like, a glow cube or a little glow sphere or any of that kind of stuff. Let's go with heightened speed, which will make us faster. It's going to lower our toughness a little bit, but that's cool. We got 5 points left. I'm going to go with flaming hands, so that we can shoot fire at people, because why the hell not? And then we'll take thick fur. So we're like a monkey man with a beak and also horns. So we can't wear helmets, we can't wear masks, but damn, are we going to hit people really hard. So flaming hands lets me shoot fire out of my hands every now and again. It's pretty cool. You can't wear gloves, but you walk around with your arms on fire, which is like the coolest shit on earth. It's like ethereal fire around your character's hands. Heightened speed makes me very, very speedy. Horns make it so that everybody loves me that has horns, and then I headbutt people every now and again in melee combat for crazy amounts of damage. Night vision I already talked about. Thick fur makes it so monkeys like us, and then we also have heat and cold resistance. The beak, as we talked about, makes us uglier, so people like us less. Can't wear a mask, but we peck our opponents too every now and again, so that's pretty cool stuff. We're probably still going to die horribly, but that's it. Now we've got to choose a character class, and these all modify your stats and give you starting skills. There's so many skills in this game that I think it would take us a long time to really talk about it all, but I wanted to look for anything that starts with long blade, is what I'm thinking. So if there's somebody with long blade in here, I could take that. So let's go ahead and have a look. Apparently my cat is crawling around in the sink right now. I don't know if you heard that, but that was probably Ollie crawling around in the sink making a bunch of noise right in the middle of an episode. Damn cat. Alright, so who's got long blades proficiency? Somebody's got long blade. Ah, the warden has long blade proficiencies. That also makes us friend with the fellowships of wardens, which is good later. We also get gun skills. We get some shield skills, which I probably won't use because that's for noobs. Who blocks? We just headbutt shit to death and hit it with the biggest object we can. We're gonna be like Gurg the Destroyer. And then that's pretty much the synopsis of our skills right there. And so let's jump on into the game. I'll probably cut this one a little bit longer because it takes so long to get into it. We're going to be Booger Barrel, the great beaked and also horned warrior. Welcome to Cut, everybody. On the 30th of Iyur-Ut, you arrive at the oasis hamlet of Jappa along the far rim of Mograyi, the Great Salt Desert. All around you, moisture farmers tend to groves of Viridian water vine. There are huts wrought from rock salt and brine stock. On the horizon, Cud's jungles strangle chrome steeples and rusted archways to the earth. Further and beyond, the fabled spindle rises above the fray and pierces the cloud-ribbon sky. So this is our character. He's that little white guy at the bottom, doing white guy stuff and walking around as I've been known to do. Oops, I went to the next map over. I don't want to do that. And so anyways, welcome to Jappa. We've got to talk to a couple people to get some jobs and get our starter quest, but the first thing we need to do is loot the town, because there's lots of good stuff in here. Our character probably will get murdered if anybody sees us stealing, because they're super tough, so we probably don't want to get seen. But aside from that, you can go into people's houses and you can take their stuff. The game controls with the numpad, just like every other roguelike, and then you press spacebar to interact with stuff and you just pick a direction. There's a woven tunic. Some bear jerky, that's pretty useful. A short bow and some copper nuggets. The copper nuggets are kind of like a currency item, I guess. They're valuable, and they weigh less than the normal currency too, so it might be worth it to keep it around. Studded leather armor, so we got a 3 to 2 right there. We got a torch, a bronze longsword. The numbers that are denoted right there, the little thing right here is your armor penetration. This right here is how much damage it deals. So this will go through 5 layers of armor, and then 5 levels of armor, and then it does 1d4. The buckler right here, this is its armor value, that's how much it absorbs, and that's its dodge value, which is how much it increases your chance to dodge when people try to murder you with pointy objects. So far, we're not doing so good. Usually you get a lot better items from looting these, and so unfortunately, we may be off to a bit of a rough start. Won't be too bad, though. We got a star apple and a blood-stained neck ring. I think that's a trade item, but we're not going to worry about it for right now. Let's take a look at our inventory here by pressing the I key, and then I'm going to go over by pressing the 9 key. What I like about this game, you can open any menu and you just press 7 and 9. It'll take you to any of the other tabs in the game, and so really, you don't have to memorize a ton of hotkeys to play this game. Instead, you can kind of just pan through if you're fast enough. I think I'll probably, let's put on, since our character is a strength build, we're going to put on the studded leather armor because that's way more beefy for us. Got nothing to wear on our back. I'm going to get rid of the buckler. We've got an iron longsword, which is baller. We're going to hold on to that, but I'm going to actually up the ante here. And in my left hand, we're going to wield another bronze longsword because we want people to fear us. When we roll into the dungeon, we want to be like a tornado of howling, screaming, horned pain. That's all that we want to be. You'll see here that my hands are covered in ghostly flames. That was probably a poor decision. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have saved those points and put them into something else so that I could wear armored gloves because they do help. But having ghostly flames on your hands, I mean, if you had the choice, why not? We need to talk to this red guy over here. Mehmet. Live and drink, friend. May you find shade in Jappa. I am looking for work. Please give me your job. I am the equivalent of a post-apocalyptic panhandler. Some critters are eating our water vine. Farouk claims he saw one slinking around a vine patch. Ugly little thing, he says, pale white with 8 legs and an ear-splitting whine. I noticed a bit of red dirt in the water vine pool, the same we find in the soil at a nearby cave to the north we call Red Rock. Travel to Red Rock and kill as many of these critters as you can. Bring back the corpse of one too. Elder Iridad will reward you for your efforts. I will do as you ask because I am a giant sloppy gopher. Cool. So we got our first quest. You can also press L to look at people and stuff. So this guy right here is the Zealot of the 6-Day Stilt. He preaches the chromatic gospel of the mechanimists. This guy over here, everybody has a history and like people that like him and dislike him. Years of desert toil have taken the toll on his body, but he commands your ear with his voice like few other men, and you wonder what sovereignty he might have come to were he not born a moisture farmer. So the villagers of Jappa like him, obviously. The mechanimists hate him, which means that technically this guy over here should be trying to murder him. There's a preacher of the mechanimists around here somewhere who should be trying to kill him since the mechanimists don't like him. I've heard other people be like, why does sometimes Mehmet get attacked by the preacher? It's because his hateds and his loves are randomly generated, and when it's the mechanimists that hate him, the preacher's a mechanimist, so he attacks him at the outset of the game, and it's just never been fixed. Apparently he tricked the mechanimists into tricking them, or he tricked them into sharing fresh water, and he's hated by hermits for stealing an heirloom. Okay, that's pretty sweet. So if we walk around here long enough, there's probably a guy. They might have fixed it, actually. Which one's the guy? This guy right here, the Zealot of the 6-Day Stilt. Yeah, apparently they fixed that. He used to, this guy right here would randomly attack this guy in red sometimes when you started the game off. And it must have been fixed. I don't know. We can get another quest from this guy right here, but he's a douchebag, and I don't feel like dealing with him right now because mostly we didn't get the thing to finish the quest. That's why you loot all the houses, is sometimes you get the thing you need in order to complete the quest instantly and go straight to level 2. So instead, we're going to press the minus key on our numpad, and it's going to take us to the world map. We can look around on the world map. Our quest told us to go to here at Red Rock. We can also go out here to some of these places, the Rust Wells, and all of this is navigable. Like, you can go all the way out here and explore all this stuff if you want. There's undamaged water over there. That's good. Water without any issues. Water that had a very standard upbringing and a happy childhood. We can go to the banana groves in here, the almond porch, which there's like monkey people or something over there. Actually, there's monkeys that live in some of these like mushrooms or something down here too. Oh yeah, over here. Yeah, ape god worshippers and their giant mushrooms. They'll probably like us because we look like a monkey. There's ruins. There's all kinds of stuff to explore. For right now, we just need to go north and bear in mind, we're traveling a really long ways when we go north each step. If you notice over on the right in our combat log in here, it's talking about us eating and drinking. It basically means it takes us a day to walk each one of these tiles. When we get there, we're going to press the plus key, which is going to bring us down to the world map level. Oh, shit, we're being attacked by monkeys already. That's fun. That's enjoyable. Didn't I take ape fur, though? Shouldn't they like me? I thought I had ape fur. Why did he attack me? That's weird, because normally when you take thick fur, it raises your reputation with monkeys, and the baboons will leave you alone. He must be a rogue baboon. He's just being a dick. He's the baboon that nobody likes, unless he's not throwing at me, but I'm pretty sure he was, because I lost HP. I'm going to stab him to death real fast, which you accomplish by just, like, walking into him with a weapon equipped, and it will auto-kill anything, or auto-attack anyways, anything that's hostile. Apparently, the monkeys are very upset with us, and I'm not sure why, because we have baboon fur, or we have monkey fur, so they should like us. This is kind of an outlier for me. Well, it means I get to kill monkeys for a little while, and we're getting 10 XP per monkey. So this is probably a good opportunity for me to hit level 2, so that's what we're going to do. We're murdering baboons. That one's got stones and a small club. Apparently that baboon is reinventing the wheel as far as weaponry goes. He's like, I got this thing. It's a blunt stick, and get this. You hit your enemies in the face with it, and yes, they can walk off the map like that. As could I if I wanted to chase him, but I'm kind of lazy right now, so I don't feel like it. There's a goat man over there. He probably likes us because we have goat horns. I'm going to stab this baboon right here because he's hulking, and that threatens me. What is this right here? This is a witchwood tree. You can actually harvest stuff from trees, too, if you have the right skill, but I don't have the right skill, so... what are you going to do? We're doing pretty strongly right now. Normally, my characters are dead by this point, so... Be warned, you can die very, very easily and very, very explosively in this game. I've walked down a flight of stairs and been zapped to death, burned to death. It doesn't really matter. Looks like we've got kobolds in here. Oh, that's not good. We got a big kobold in here. Let me bind my abilities. So I've got flaming hands. I'm going to bind that to 1. You press enter and then the key that you wanted to put it in. What does mark target do? I'm sure it probably does something... It probably makes me hit harder, but I don't know. I'll have to play around with it for a minute. So there's a lot of bad guys in here. There's a lot of things that want to hurt me, that would desperately love to hurt me. In fact, we're fighting down the stairwell right now. I'm stabbing downwards and killing stuff. There we go. And so they should all be dead on the stairs right here, which means that I can push the G key to get, and I'm trying to store things, so I want a slender bronze longsword. They're actually mods, kind of Borderlands or Diablo style, that affect what a weapon does, so I think slender makes it do... maybe it makes it lighter? I don't know. Let's see, slender. The item weighs less than normal. Indeed, it does. So I'm going to equip that... right there, and then we'll take the bronze one and we'll clip it in our offhand. Since there's a worn burnoose right here, that gives us some dodge. I will take that. It'll offset some of the dodge loss we already have. It's not going to help that much. Realistically, it's probably not going to do anything. But I can put it on my back. Put it on my back. And so we got that burnoose. As you may have noticed, there's no sound effects or anything in the game, and if there are, they're very sparsely populated right now. They don't come up very often. I guess I'm going to murder this bat real fast because he's a dick and I want him to die. There we go. The bat has been destroyed. We've got more kobolds over here. I'm going to take my time and stab them to death. You've gained a level. You're now level 2. You gain 4 hit points, 90 skill points, and a mutation point. Those all buy exactly what you think they would buy. One of them buys skills, one of them buys HP, and then one of them is HP, and then the other one allows you, a witchwood wreath. Anything with a colored name is worth a little bit of money. We got to watch out. I should have bought band-aids before I left town in case I step on a young ivory or whatever. There's these things called young ivories. They're spike traps basically, and when you step on them they do a crazy amount of damage, and they are responsible for the loss of so many of my starting characters. Like, for real, they one-shot you, and if they don't one-shot you, they make you bleed too, which is really sort of troublesome. You see what happened right there? I killed that guy, and then it turned the other one next to him red because I splashed his blood all over the guy next to him. We got a water skin. Crocossins, those are pretty good. Those are just moccasins made out of crocodiles. I've got iron gear right here, which we can sell later on, so I'm definitely going to take those. Got a bronze dagger and some coveralls right here. I picked up a thing, and I can't remember what it was. I'm going to equip a short bow because oh yeah, crocossins. So crocossins give us armor, which is absolutely fabtabulous, because that brings us up to 4 armor, which is not that good. But then again, it's better than nothing. That means that for every time we get hit, at least it's absorbing a little bit of that damage. Kind of offsetting stuff. In this game, mostly you want to focus either on dodge or on armor. It's up to you. I've had limited success with dodge, so I tend to be kind of biased. There's a young ivory right there. That was the young ivory that I was talking about, and it reduced us to half health with one hit. I'm going to murder it for trying to murder. Look, see that right there? That pool of blood on the ground? That's my blood. He spilled my blood all over the floor. It's upsetting. I don't like it when things... a slender bronze two-handed sword. Well, there's our guy. The game's all over for the enemy now. Let's go ahead and equip that in our right hand. I got to take all this stuff out of my other hands. But we are going to do the slender bronze two-handed sword. Although technically, it's just barely better than our iron longsword. But still, this is going to be my jam right here. I love heavy weapons. I can't help it. Heavy weapons are so much fun to use and stab bad guys with. And really just make them... Oh, shit. Get my ass whooped right now. Hold on. Your character changes colors depending on how much... Oh, we got 2 beaded bracelets. Those are worth hella money. And then there's some other stuff in there that I don't really care about. We'll pick it up later. I'm going to rest for a minute. I know there's a key you can press to rest until you're healed, but I forgot what it is. And it's been a while since I played last. So mostly I'm just going to bypass turns until I get healed. I think it's like Alt-R or something like that. I'm going to kill that bat too because every bit of XP matters in this game. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Sometimes a level up and a carefully crafted character that has a few more skill points, it's enough to save your ass once something comes a-calling for those bills to be paid. There's nothing inside of here. Ooh, there's a... What is he? A Snapjaw Warlord who is apparently super fine. He's been working on his glutes. All the other Snapjaws want to be like him. They think he's purdy. Oh, I got scared. So you see this grass on the ground right here that I just killed? It's called a dreadroot. And sometimes, every couple of seconds, it'll try and cast fear on you, and it makes you run around. And it almost got us jibbed right there. And so I don't feel good about that. I have to murder it. I have to get my revenge. It's important to note that if I had diggy claws, I could dig through all these walls and I could do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, by no means is the dungeon static. You can totally just tear this place apart if you really want to. These are the stairs down. Let's go have a look and see what comes after us. We don't want to mess with that beetle because he will whoop our ass. But he's neutral right now. And how do I know this? I know this from other playthroughs, but I also know this because you can press L and you can inspect him and it'll say he's a beetle bum, an orbicular beetle that roams and ingests. He's got massive mandibles. I know from experience they do 1d8 plus a strength modifier damage, which is a lot. We only have 22 HP, which means he can hurt us very quickly. He's tough and he's neutral. Knowing that he's neutral means that we can just walk away and not have to worry about him. That right there is a jilted lover. They're kind of hit or miss. Sometimes they one-shot you, sometimes they don't. Jilted lovers can be a pain if you're like level 1. That's usually... Oop, that's a dreadroot right there, and it's got to die. There we go, so it doesn't fear me at the wrong moment. I don't see anything in here. Oh, man. I've been shot with arrows. That's upsetting. Oh, you're trapped now, you little bastard. You cowardly combat. I exploded him. Did you see that right there? When I hit him, he exploded into blood. This is a game where you got to use your imagination. I like games like this where I can watch what happened and then in my head I can paint a picture. There are spitting seeds in here, which sucks. These things kill your characters a lot, too. They're basically like vines that shoot seeds at you, and damn do they hurt. They do like 1d8 plus something, rather. It's unpleasant. You should check every pool of water in this game. Water is your money in this game, so if you find a fresh pool of water, you can fill up your water skin, and it counts as dollar bills, y'all. Most of the water in the game is tainted by salt, which is why it's so valuable. I'm going to kill that little bastard. Ooh, he's got crocossins too. Yep, and an iron dagger, which I'm going to sell to a vendor a little bit later on. This playthrough is going pretty well. We've gained a level. We're now level 3. We got 1 HP. Oh, that's bad. Normally, I would save scum that, but whatever. We got mutation points and an attribute point. That was a really bad roll. Oh, shit, there's a big white guy down there. Oh, no, I went to rest, and then he stabbed me in the face. Luckily, I'm faster than he is. That's why I took that quickness trait, is so I could run away really, really fast when stuff like this happens, so he can't catch me, and I could just, like, regenerate faster than he can bother me. Pretty good plan, right? Pretty good plan. All right, we're going to fight him right here. Ooh, we injured him. It looks like he hit us for 3 damage, and then... he couldn't penetrate our armor with his bite. However, we hit him twice for 9 damage with our slender broadsword, two-handed sword, 1d8, 11. All right. We hit him really, really hard. He had a bad day. It was a rough day for the Snapjaw Warlord. It's always a rough day for him, though, because I am the hero, and the hero's job is to slay everything that's different from me. If you are different, I will kill you, because it is medieval times, and we are ignorant to a level that is rarely experienced. There we go. Get my HP back real fast. Got another one of those vines. He hit me for 7. Good God. He tried to take me out. Tried to whoop that. Oh, fear vine got me right there. Luckily, the vines will also try to fear like other animals that run around. Oh, we got a leather cap, which would be cool if we could actually wear hats. Unfortunately, we can't, and I guess we don't know a tailor, so we can't make like custom-made hats with horn holes in them, but, you know, whatever. Different than a hat with a cornhole in it. That's a little bit more offensive. You probably don't want to wear that to Disneyland. I'm going to kill that vine spitter real quick. I'm going to kill that jilted lover real fast, too. Ow, he sprayed my blood all over him. The bloody jilted lover dies because he critted me and it squirted my blood everywhere. That's disappointing. Ooh, a treasure chest being guarded by a snapjaw. No, we got a bronze longsword, a studded leather armor, a fractured microchip. I think this is actually the chest right here that it's looking at. And so I want the leather armor so I can sell it later on. Seriously, focus on making a lot of money in this game. Like, sometimes you can spend like $300, $400, and if you've got the extra money from picking up random crap in the dungeon, no joke, it will buy you some pretty overpowered gear if you keep an eye out for it. We're on the 3rd layer now, and those are centipedes. Those are a little scarier, so I'm going to try and force them up the stairs so they can only fight me one at a time. It's cheese mode, but it works. Hey, stop shooting me with seeds, you little prick. God, he already ate up all my health, too. Great. Got a snapjaw with an iron dagger right there. Anything iron or steel sells for a decent amount. Just something to keep in mind while you're playing the game, but... Got a couple of centipedes right here. We should be able to get a good little blast of XP on that side. And in fact, let's handle our level up here so you can see how that goes and see if that's something that strikes your fancy. Because we're almost out of time for the day in this little playthrough of Caves of Cud. I like this game. I really do. I think the tile set could use a little work. I like tile sets. I don't know. I don't like ASCII or anything like that. So the better it looks, the happier I normally am. But aside from that, I'd like to see sound effects and music first. We've already got these abilities. We can get kickback for bows and rifles, which makes us kick people if we point blank them with a weapon. Might knock them back. We can take lunge, which makes it occasionally attack with our long blades with more penetrating force. Good against very, very armored people. We have 180 SP right now. We can take swipe, which is basically cleave. It occasionally makes you hit multiple enemies that are adjacent to each other. You can do intercept, which I think gives you a chance to hit somebody whenever they move into a square that's adjacent to you, but it's like a really small chance. Like, for real, it's not a good chance. It's like, whatever. Parry stance is pretty good if you've got the skills to back it up, but it takes a lot of agility to build that one, so I would probably focus on something like lunge, where we're working with strength since that's our main stat. So I'll take lunge right there. Other things that I would highly recommend taking on your average playthrough, something along the lines of tinkering is probably useful. It's a pretty big SP sink. You can get disassemble, gadget inspector, reverse engineer, which all of these things here will allow you to learn to craft and make items that you find throughout the world, which can save you a lot of money and actually make you some pretty overpowered stuff earlier than you're otherwise supposed to have it. But aside from that, our character is just like a killing machine, so I don't really care about doing intellectually things. I got some arrows in here. It's not letting me auto loot. That means something around is hostile and trying to kill me. I'm going to kill that bug right there for 10 XP. This spider shouldn't bother me unless I get next to it. Spiders only go hostile if you get adjacent to them, but they're worth a bunch of XP, so it's occasionally worth it to kill them. We gained a level. You are now level 4. Got 3 hit points, 90 skill points, and a mutation point. That means we can play around with mutations. So let's go have a look at those. Mutations are accessed through this right here. We have 1 attribute point. I'm going to drop that into... I'll probably drop it into toughness just to get our toughness point back, because we lost our +1 when I took that hefty quickness ability. Aside from that, we can level up one of these if we want to. I would probably level up horns. It's super overpowered, and it's a really good plan. It'll make our horns do 2d4 instead of 2d3. As you go up, it like makes them just more and more badass. Like, seriously, the horns become like one of those things that just annihilate everybody. This one right here actually gives you an extra armor value this time around, which is nice because we can't wear helmets, and so getting some kind of utility out of our horns is probably a good plan. So there it is. Our horns now have 1 AC and they do 2d5, which is a shit ton of damage as far as this game is concerned. We got a lacquered iron longsword. That's going to be worth a grip, so I'm going to take it. I am being shot by something, a snapjaw hunter it would appear, but he's stuck in a spider web and being attacked in his booty hole by a spider who's not a fan of him. Not at all. Our character is getting his ass whooped right now because we got stuck in a spider web while fighting with an ooze. That is definitely problematic, but this is Caves of Cud. The game is really cool. Like, seriously, you have barely seen the tip of the iceberg as far as the content of this game goes. Like, it is a really, really, really fun game. Right now, those webs just caught fire. I don't know how they caught fire, but they caught fire. The fire will spread throughout the dungeon and in between the webs and stuff. Like, the game has all kinds of fun stuff going on. An Izakari banner, we definitely want that. A steel vine reaper, we want that too. And essentially, like, the sheer depth of content here. Ooh, ring mail and a steel warhammer. The sheer depth of content in this game is absurd. You can play, this is one of those games where for $10 you can basically get more gameplay than you will get out of most other titles. It shares that with a lot of games like Skyrim if you mod it on up, or Mountain Blade Warband if you mod it on up. There's basically endless gameplay in that game too. This is a very, very good $10 you can spend if you're into roguelikes. I'm of the opinion that it's probably one of the best roguelikes ever made, up there next to like Tome, which I consider to be an amazing refinement of the genre. But still, if you wanted to get Cave of Cud, I will have Caves of Cud. I will have the link for you down below. I hope you enjoyed this little episode. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we could make it this far. I hope to see you in the future. I may do a series on this. Please let me know what you think down below. Give me lots of comments, lots of likes, lots of interaction. That's how I determine if this is something that my fan base and viewership wants to see on the channel. No lie, this is one of the big ways that I choose if a game that I like a lot gets picked up for a full series. So please, 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 let me know. I will see you all later. This is Weekly Indie Newcomer. I am Splattercat, the king of indie, and I will see you all in next week's episode of Weekly Indie Newcomer. Bye, everybody.